Hello and welcome to the second part of my CollectioviewCells animation video. In the first one we made this red circle that indicates the current date and also animates in every time it is displayed. And in this video we will add two more animations in our calendar. The first one will be animation in our label, in our month label. We will make it move from right to left every time we click on the next button, and from left to right every time we click on the back button. So the first animations will be our UI label animation, and the second one will be an animation in our collection view cell. We will make our days appear with, I would say, a wave effect every time the month appears. So I'm sure you will like it, and let's start. First of all, let's start with animations of our label. For this, we will create a new Swift file where we will write our functions we'll need, and after then we will call these functions in our view controller to animate the label. So let's start with creating the Swift file. Click on the command button and N, and create a Swift file, call it Animations, and place it here above. I'm deleting this. So we will need two functions. One function that will animate the label when we click on the next button, and one function that will animate our label when we click on the back button. So let's start. Let's call it move animations. Next, it will take, of course, our label of type UI label. Let's import our UI kit here so it can recognize the label here. Okay, and let's write down our second function, move animations back. It will take, of course, the same label. Okay, so we will add in this function two animations. The first animation will be a position animation, so we will move the label some points to the right and make it move then some points to the left. And the second animation will be opacity animation, so we will make it look like it fades in when we click on the button. So let's create these two animations. So let position animation it will be a basic animation with a key path. Position, make sure to write it like this. And the second animation, let's write it here a little more down below. Let fade animation, also I see a basic animation with key path. Opacity. So do it like this. Okay, so let's modify this animations. So right here, position animation. So we need to move it from right to left when we click on next. So we will write here from value, it will be an NS value, and we will add here a CG point, and we will move it, let's say 60 points right here down, label, dot center dot x plus, let's say 70, and of course our y will be not changed, we just want to move it right, not up and down, label center dot y. Now after we move it to the right, we want to move it again to the value it was at the beginning. So we say again CG point, label dot center dot x, and of course label dot center dot y. So we need to add, of course, a duration. It will be, let's say, very short. You can add, of course, whatever y you want, but I like to make these animations short. So now after we move it from the right to left, we want to add an opacity animations to it. So we create these animations, and let's add some options to it too. Create animation from value 0 to value 1, so we make it appear. It will be disappeared, and it will appear then. It will go to value 1. And let's also add a duration here, the same duration like above. And this is all. You will see that we doesn't need to add something else to it. And in this function here, we will copy paste the code from above, and we'll change just the plus here and make it minus. So we want, when we click on the back button, to move it from the left to right, so we subtract here the points, not add them. And let's go and call these functions in our view controller. So as we said, we want this function to be called when we click the next and the back button, so we will add them in this function here. And you will add this function just below this line of code here. So we want our month label to be modified, display the month that we click on, and after then we create the animation. So type here let's save this. So okay, move animations next, and insert here our month label. And of course you will need to add this here. Move animation. Next, add the month label 2. In our back button, we will insert our other function, move animations back, and of course you will need to add this in the default state too. Month label and here. And if I made no mistake, this should work without problem. Let's take a look. So our month is here. When we click on next, it doesn't create the animation. Of course it doesn't create the animations. We forgot something very important. So we create these animations, but of course we need to add these animations to our label. So we go again to our functions and we type label dot layer at animation, position animations for key nil, and of course label dot layer at animations, fading animations for key nil, and of course copy paste these 2 lines of code and add them to your second function. Okay, and now we should have no problem. So I think it looks pretty nice. It's basically it's an illusion. We don't really make a label appear. We just use the same label here. We disappear it. We make it appear a little bit more right and move it again to its first position with the new month displayed. So, but I think it looks pretty okay. So let's go to our next animation. This will be a little bit more tricky, but it's one of my favorites, and I'm sure you will like it. So we will create animation to every cell of our collection view, and we will make our calendar days appear like a wave, one by one. So how will we be doing this? Let's get this step by step. First of all, we will need the function of our collection view that it's called function will display cell. Okay. In this function here, we will add the animations we want, and write down this function. We will come here a little bit later. So next step, we will create a new variable and call it cells array, and it will be a type of UI collection view cell array, and it will be empty. So this is an array that will store the cells we create in the functions, in the first function of our collection view. So here we create our cells for our calendar and return them. Just before we return our cell, we will append this cell to our cells array. Okay. Now, when the calendar is loaded, we will have an array of the cells that are displayed. We will use this array to modify the cells in this function here. This function here let us do some things we want when a cell is displayed. So how can we move on? So first of all, we will modify our cell when it is displayed. So we want to set its alpha to 0, and of course we want to transform its layer. Type here CA transform 3D mask scale, and we scale it to the half. And now every time a cell will be displayed, we make it disappear and we transform it. Of course, after this, we want to make it appear again, and we want to make it appear with our animation. So we will be using for this our array we made with the cells, and we will add a loop in this function and say for x in cells array, so for every cell in our cell array, we will set our cell to be equal to x. So we have a cell to modify, and we will add an animation, UI view animations, and we will select this one. We need the duration, we need the delay, using spring with damping, spring velocity, options, animations. We will just delete the completion, and in the duration let's add 1. In the delay, for now add 1, but we will change this later to make the animations more beautiful. Spring with damping, let's say like this. Initial spring velocity, let's set it to 0. Options, type dot curve is out, and in the animation So go here and type. So we want to appear our cell again. So set cell alpha to 1, and we want, of course, to transform it again to its original state. So set everything to 1. So let's try this out. Forgot to type here layer in it. Okay. So as you can see, our calendar animates in, but it doesn't look so nice until now. So let's modify some values. First of all, let us tweak the delay. So we don't want the calendar to load all at once. We want to load every day one by another. So how can we do this? We will add here we'll make it 0.01 and multiply it with index path dot row. So yes, it needs to be a double. Okay, so if you look at this, we will make every cell, we will make the next cell appear a little bit later than the previous one, because the index path will grow, and this will create this effect, this wave effect, when the calendar loads. Yes, like this. I think it looks pretty nice. Of course, you can change the values here. You can transform it bigger, smaller. You can change the delay, the durations. You can change everything you want. And these are the two animations that I wanted to show you in this video. I hope you liked it. And if you enjoy this video, like it, and if you want, subscribe to my channel to watch my future videos. Thank you very much.